hello, everybody. I'm back. We're at Wine and Wellness Podcast. We're back doing it again, and we have an interesting podcast tonight, and I'm excited about it. You know, you think about it, everybody's doing it. Not everybody, but some people are doing it. Some people are not doing it, but you've heard of it. But first of all, let me just tell you about Wine and Wellness here at Casks Flights. So Wine and Wellness, we started that off as more of a workout thing, and then it just kind of grew into Wine and wellness side of it. So now we're mostly concerned about how people are living, what things they have going on health-wise, mentally, physically, and then also just coping with after COVID situations. So we all have gone through it, so we really want to just kind of touch bases and get people back on the healthier side. So Wine and Wellness is about wellness mentally, and it's different aspects of that. So you guys, y'all tune in. I really appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight. And we're going to get started. We're going to go right into it. So tonight, I'm excited. I want to introduce Miss Crystal Silins. Silins. I will mess up a name. If y'all know me, okay. Y'all know I'll mess up a name. So she is the founder of Canna Living with Crystal. Now, that's interesting. We're going to delve into that. We're going to get into that and see what Canna Living is with Crystal. But Crystal, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I know. Me too. You know, it's one of those things that, when you're younger, you partaked in and stuff like that. And, you grow up and you're like, oh, well, it's not for me. And then you grow up and you're like, oh, no, it's more so for me than it ever was. But today's podcast with Crystal is about living a socially healthy cannabis life. We're going to talk about different aspects of cannabis. She's going to tell us about, just give us her opinion on cannabis. But first, listen, tell us a little bit about you right now.
Sure.
Just you, what's going on with you.
Sure.
You're a good friend of mine. You come in here, we do a lot of networking things together. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of mutual friends together. And, you do so much. I see you everywhere.
A little bit of a mover and a shaker.
Okay.
Bit. I try to be anime.
You gotta be nowadays.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, just tell everybody, tell the audience, Crystal, give them a little insight in on you.
Who is this Canna Living with Crystal girl?
That's right. Yeah.
Well, first off, thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate the invite and just being open to the cannabis conversation and how it does incorporate into, your daily lifestyle and wellness, because I truly believe that cannabis is wellness. I believe that it's the most medicinal plant on the planet, and there's a lot of people that agree. And I am here to help break that stigma and try to debunk some taboo, thought processes and opinions. And, knowledge is power and education is key. So I was actually somebody, when I was young, I was not somebody who really partook.
Really?
Yeah, really. So I grew up in a very rural town in Pennsylvania. And I was an athlete, so, I was in all kinds of, athletics. And then after high school, I went right into the Navy.
Okay.
Being in the military, yeah. I was never interested in, weed, because growing up in the 80s and 90s, I don't want to show our ages too much.
No,
but,
you're good.
We're still so young. Mm-hmm. But, growing up during that time, DARE taught you to just say no, and that drugs were bad. Okay, like they were bad. And South Park, like all these things they'll tell you.
Yeah.
All that propaganda that was out there, and marijuana was a gateway drug, which was what we were, being programmed to be taught.
That's true.
Back then. And so I grew up thinking it was something bad, and I didn't want it to lead me into a cocaine addiction or meth or
Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that.
And I truly believe that cannabis is a plant power that can help people get off of those drugs when they have the right support and they are educated and using it correctly. And but after 8 years in the military and traveling all over the place, from the West Coast to Europe to even independent steaming on on a Navy destroyer.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I did a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah,
A lot of cool stuff
yeah.
in the Navy, and that could be a story for another day.
Okay,
But
okay.
being a woman veteran is definitely something I'm very proud of. So I did 8 honorable years, and after that, I went into working for the government in cybersecurity.
Look at you.
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot
Man.
in the Navy, and I was like, what is going to make me a good amount of money that can use these skills that I grew over that time. And I, got some college under my belt and became a leader and led some troops. And I got hired really quick out of the Navy. And soon thereafter I met my husband, my now husband, who's also in the Navy.
Okay.
So still in a military family, which can be a little taboo also, considering I'm a cannabis advocate and married to a Navy cop, actually.
Oh, wow.
So the plot thickens, right?
Yeah.
There's many layers here.
It's interesting conversation we're having right now.
I want to capture them right
That's
away.
it.
So you're like, what?
"How
They're
was
turning
she
heads
doing it?"
already.
Yeah, they trying to figure out how they can do it because you probably got some military people and like, oh, I can smoke cannabis.
And no, and that's definitely something I make sure people are very educated on. My husband cannot touch it in any way, shape, or form, not even hemp or anything like that. None of it. Yeah,
Man, does he want to though? Is he be like, oh
he's
man,
so close to retirement, and
Yeah.
yes, he
can wait it
definitely
out.
would
Yeah.
be ready to give it a whirl after 20 years.
Oh,
of
him a cannabis
faithful service.
retirement party, right? No, thank you for your service, though. Definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
No problem. No problem.
And then, unfortunately, I got diagnosed with cancer. So I was working for the government, and I got diagnosed with breast cancer.
oh my goodness.
And at 29 years young, and it wrecked my world. It pretty much just threw me. My husband and I had just gotten married, so we're a year into our marriage, so still newlyweds. And I found a lump and was like, "What the heck is happening?" He was actually stationed on a ship at the time, and he was going in and out to sea. And it was kind of a really crazy journey because it went from I found it to I have a doctor's appointment to you have cancer in a really short amount of time. And then it was like, fast forward, you need to have chemo, you need to have radiation. It was very aggressive. And I was like, wait, I'm 29, I haven't even had kids yet. My husband and I just got married, I want a family. Wait, how's this going to affect all of these things? And they basically told me, I could harvest, some eggs and try to go through that process. If I did, considering the type of cancer I had that fed off of estrogen, it would have been very detrimental to the cancer. It would have fed the cancer. So it was a really hard time. And I tell you all that because it's just kind of the history that leads into my cannabis advocacy work.
No, yes.
And, it's layers to that story as well. But being diagnosed with cancer and then going through all the traditional treatment with modern medicine, I went through chemotherapy, I went through radiation. And, I'm not here to ever tote and say it's going to cure, treat, or prevent any disease. But I've now heard, and this was 8 years ago, of course, that I went through my cancer battle. But now I hear and listen to all these podcasts of people who have supplemented their lives with cannabis and their cancer goes into remission with using RSO, which is Rick Simpson oil, and all these different forms of CBD, THC, and all these things. And it's just miraculous to me that 37 states have now gone into a medical program, and
they've adopted it like that.
For sure, it's
Wonderful.
truly been proven that it's going to help people in so many different medical realms. And cancer is just a small part of where I've come from, but it wasn't until really what happened after cancer that introduced me to really loving the cannabis plant. Because even when I was going through chemotherapy, I had some friends. I had some great friends that were like, why don't you try this pot brownie? Because I was actually on disability from work. I had really good insurance, stuff, and I was able to go out on disability. And I didn't get drug tested during that time, but I still turned it down. Because I wanted to be able to go back to work for the government. And I wanted to be able to still use my skills and my degrees and all of these things. And so I still turned it down. I still didn't really understand the power and benefit of it, even though I was so sick and they were giving me all these medications for every single thing that they could possibly give you,
They give you a lot of stuff that the side effects and stuff like that. It's just, man.
Yeah, and it was 2 years into all of this. It was medication after medication after medication for this side effect and that side effect. And I developed neuropathy in my hands. And being a cybersecurity analyst, I'm required to be typing on a computer all day long, you know? And it got to a point where I couldn't even feel my hands anymore. And I was up to 1,200 milligrams of gabapentin, which is a borderline opioid drug. They sell it on the street to get, you through your highs with meth and all the other stuff that's out there because it's so cheap to attain.
Right.
And they hand it out like candy everywhere for all kinds of neurological and, nervous system issues.
Yeah.
So it got to a point where I was just on so many medications, and it wasn't just from the side effects from the treatment that I went through, but it was from the mental health aspect.
Right.
I'm a 29, 30-year-old woman with a bald head, newlywed. It's totally up and down in my mind because my husband, what did he just get into with marrying this woman who can't even have kids now at this point? So it was really a trying time, and I became very depressed. And there were times where I didn't think that my life was worth of value to continue on.
Oh my goodness.
And it was really rough. Yeah, it was really rough at times. And I became just a different kind of person. You know me now as a pretty extroverted, bubbly person.
Yeah, I never could imagine.
I went through some stuff. Yeah. So, and I learned a lot through all of that process, of course. But there were times where I was like, there's got to be some other way than all of these medications that all they're just going to give me is more medications.
Right.
And I started researching plant-based. I actually found someone who did, the essential oil thing. And I started learning a lot just about, basil or oregano and turmeric and all these spices and leaves that can help you. And I was like, well, cannabis. So let's just really start diving into that.
It's amazing how everything we need to heal ourselves is right here. We don't have to manufacture anything. We grow it every day. We eat it. We can drink it. We don't really need a lot of prescription medicine.
That's so true. 100 plus years ago, cannabis was the pharmacopoeia of the medicine back then. And even for thousands of years prior to that, there's a lot of history books that are proving that.
I bet.
And it was really the government and the propaganda and, the things
they
that
want to control it.
Yeah, and like we're still talking about it 100 years later, and it's like, come on, the science is now there. And Israel was actually one of the forefronts of the research of it all. And we're 45 years deep, I think, with Israel's research, and they're at the forefront of just the medicinal value of cannabis. And the U.S. is catching up, but of course politicians and whatever follow that money trail.
They gotta follow it. That's true. We gotta follow that money trail. Well, no, Chris, I really appreciate you giving us a little insight on the background of you. And are we past the cancer? Are we?
Yeah, I am 8 years cancer free. Yes, sir.
That is just wonderful.
Yes, sir. And cannabis got me off of every single synthetic prescription medication that I was on. And I was taking almost 300 pills a month. Wow. That was 12 different prescriptions, because gabapentin, they give you more and more and more. They just want you to take all these pills, and it got to a point where I was supplementing with also, changing my diet some, because that's very important, and 80, 20, 75, 25, depending on the holiday,
Right.
But finding a better balance with my diet. I was somebody growing up in my 20s that didn't really care as much with my body.
Yeah,
and
we were young. We didn't really care. We think we're diehard type of thing.
we're invisible. We can do anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it wasn't until I was more mindful of, what a lot of processed food and stress and just toxins that enter our body, and even indulging too much. Yeah. And I got to a point where I was using all my pills, like especially the mental health ones, and Xanax and Ativans and some of those that can make you a little impaired, but they help you. But I was drinking a lot on those as well. And it becomes a slippery slope. Yes. It becomes a really slippery slope. And because I was educated, or I am educated, and I had a good job, and I had cancer, the doctors would give me anything I wanted, however much.
To just make you comfortable.
However much.
Make sure that you're good.
Yeah. There was not a limit.
That is not the way.
It was scary.
It is.
And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. It just became to a point where I was like, well, I need this to survive, and they give it to me, so I think it's okay. Right. And a lot of people think like that, and they don't.
And they don't have strong will
they don't have a
issues.
switch, right? And or they just don't know.
That's true.
And they don't realize that they should be doing research.
Yeah.
It's you really need to be your own health advocate.
Right.
And cannabis isn't such a scary thing after all. And I was super scared even when I started trying it too.
I'm sure.
And it wasn't until one of my very best friends who was also a breast cancer survivor, and I met her through, going through that battle together.
You need that support.
She was a young mom, and she was put together, and she was responsible, and she was like, friend, you need to try cannabis for real, and like really stick to it and see what happens. And
I mean, it's
changed my life.
Yeah, I mean, like you think about it, like what's the worst? Like you're already on these pills, like okay, let me try something healthy, something that that's a little bit more natural, stuff like that. That's just wonderful. I mean, that's really great. That's really great. Thank you for just giving us that little insight. I didn't know that.
I didn't know we were going to get so raw, but I just got to put it out there a little bit. It's a backstory. It's important to why I do what I do. And I think it's important for people to understand too that someone prancing around throwing a cannabis leaf out is not,
don't know their history.
you don't know where they came from.
Where they came from. You're right. Well, look, we're gonna keep it rolling. Listen, what are we drinking on? Tell me.
Yes.
What do you have over there in your glass?
Actually, you've been so hospital that I don't even know exactly the brand or anything, but it's a beautiful Sauvignon Blanc. I'm sorry,
No,
you're gonna have to school me on this one.
I should have, but that's the infamous gold.
Gold.
It's a Cabernet Blanc.
So Cabernet.
It's
I'm
a
so
Cabernet
sorry.
Blanc.
Cabernet Blanc.
And it's a delicious wine. We have it here. You probably can see it if you zoom in. It's back there in that middle case, right there to your left. Well, to my left, and maybe you guys is right. But we have it here on the wine machines here at Casks Flights. But she told me she's a white wine drinker, so I gave her something that was really nice that I enjoy. And me, on the other hand, I'm actually sipping on Mr. Boxer here. It's an Australian Shiraz, and I like it. It's Molly Duker's wine, so I really enjoy this Shiraz. I like a good Shiraz. This one that I have, I actually poured it from a bottle that was open 2 or 3 days ago, so it's kind of lost its luster a little bit, I could tell, but it's still drinkable.
Still drinkable.
It's still
I totally
drinkable.
drink it.
You drink it?
Totally.
You drink it?
Absolutely.
I'm enjoying it still.
You're doing good. But once it airs out a little, it's like not the same pop. It's not the same feel.
You can taste it. I've been drinking wine here for a good little minute now, so I could taste when one is like, oh, it's not. It's lost. It's lost it a little bit, but
you can't let it go to waste.
No, you can't. You can't. We're not doing that at all here. But we also look like we got some stuff set up on the table. I knew you guys were like, okay, tell me what's going on that table.
There's a lot going on
what's
here.
What's up with that table? How can I get in on that table? Right. So you go ahead and explain. Go through it. Just just go through it real quick.
Sure.
And let them know what you got. And we're broadcasting out here for them.
Okay, so Canna Living with Crystal is like a whole vibe. It's I help people get their medical marijuana cards. It's not something that's a service necessarily. It's not something I charge for, but I recommend you going to certain places within the community that may fit what you need, and just help you understand what you need to walk in there and what you need to make an appointment with and what kind of medical diagnosis you have to have in the state of Florida. There's technically only 12 medical diagnoses that qualify you for medical marijuana card. However, anxiety is one of them. And most of us will pretty much say you can be diagnosed with anxiety in any capacity if you're an adult.
If you're an adult, you got some type of anxiety.
Any little bit of pain will get you a card. It's just a matter of talking to the right doctor. You don't necessarily even have to have your own medical cards or medical records. You can walk in there and they can produce them for you by talking with you. It's an actual doctor that goes through the process with you. Yeah. And in the state of Florida, it takes about 3 weeks to get your card once the doctor approves it. And then the state has to go through its process, and then by the time it gets approved from your doctor's appointment and the recommendation, you can go to shop at medical marijuana dispensaries. And we got like 12 here in Pensacola. There's so many all over the place.
They are, and they're popping up. They
are. There's even more coming, and it's like they're not even busy right now. So I'm like, why are more coming? But I have my like 3 or 4 favorite, and I help people navigate that a little bit because it can be very overwhelming, especially for the snowbirds or the senior citizens that they're like, I smoked it back in the 60s, but it's not the same.
No, it's not. It is not the same. They got some stuff out there that'll put you down.
Yeah. Right. So it's like a cannabis concierge almost, where I just kind of handhold you through that. And then if you're not ready to get a medical medical card, I help educate people on the benefits and value of CBD. And that's what really started getting me into cannabis. I didn't go right in and just smoke a bunch of weed. It was, I eased into it. And all these products that you see on the table, they're primarily CBD based, though, so they come from hemp. And hemp and marijuana are actually two completely different plants.
Oh.
They are part of the same species. So, you got cannabis, and then you got different species of that cannabis plant.
Right.
Hemp and marijuana are the two primary ones that people know about. And then the third one is ruderalis. And we were like, well, what is that? And, that's a whole nother topic, too, within the cannabis umbrella. But it's kind of similar to the citrus family. You got lemons, limes, and oranges. They all taste the same, but they're all kind of similar and have some nutritional value. Yeah. And CBD actually has more nutrition or more supplemental medicinal value than THC does. So the magic happens when you're integrating both of them into your daily lifestyle. So we all have a endocannabinoid system in our body that is centrally linked to our nervous system. And because of that, CBD there's receptors all throughout our body, from the tips of our fingers down to our toes, at the top of our head, but in our gut is a major one. And CBD really nourishes that and helps your body, even arguably, and I can't technically say this because I'm not a doctor, so don't go report me, but the FDA, I don't want them coming after me. It can heal the body and what it's going through. So these are some CBD tinctures. These are some oil-based tinctures here that I offer with a company called Ariel. They're a new health and wellness line that really helps people get to a point of becoming their highest self. And it's kind of a play on words, because we are in the cannabis industry. Yeah. But becoming your highest self isn't just being high. Right. It is about your mind, your body, and your soul. And cannabis really helps you dig deep into personal development. And it calms you down to a point where you can just discover what is happening in the world around me. Is it happening to me, or is it happening for me?
Right.
So the company that I associate with, almost all of these products can help with mental health in some kind of capacity. And obviously going through COVID and the weight of the world and politics and so many, social issues that are happening, there's so much divide.
Right.
And I feel like cannabis is actually something that can even bring people together.
That's true.
Because it chills people out.
Right.
It
does.
It just chills you out.
Like, chill out, man.
Yeah,
take
just
this.
chill. Yes. And we got a gummy for that. Okay. So, I got some Delta 8 gummies, which are also THC, and they're a little controversial. And some states are actually outlawing it and banning it now because it is a semi-psychoactive. It would actually, if you took a THC Delta 8 gummy, it's going to feel like you've had a glass or two of wine. Okay. Depending on the milligrams, of course. So, and everybody's body is a little different. But this, of course, is what people primarily think of when they think of, weed and marijuana. But this is actually a hemp flower. It's a CBG hemp flower that came from locally grown here in Pensacola.
Really?
Yes, up in the Beulah area.
Yes, the Beulah area.
They sure do.
Wow.
This farm is called Herita Harvest, and they have been in business for a couple years now, 2 years, since the Farm Bill was actually. You know what happened? Hurricane Sally wiped out so much of their crop because they were outdoor grow for a while. And again, it really wrecked them for a little bit. So that's why you may not have heard as much about them. So they're in the process of rebuilding and regrowing. But the CBG hemp flower is pretty incredible, and it marries really nice with the CBD. And it's another cannabinoid that people don't realize is so medicinal and so powerful. It's not just about THC and smoking pot.
I know. See, I can't handle all the THC. I don't like to smoke.
Okay. Yeah.
For some reason, I just don't like to smoke. I will do an edible every now and then. I just do something that just kind of chill me out.
They taste good.
And they taste good. And even
some of them don't.
And
quality matters.
Quality does matter. It's just that I know, let's say, if I'm in here and I'm winding up my day and I'm about to go home or something like that, and I'm fixing to go and relax, I can tell, if I eat one maybe 30 minutes. Before I know that I'm going to be leaving in about 30 minutes and I'm going to be at the house, because I don't know how I'm going to do out in public. I got to be at home. You
got to practice.
I need to practice.
I'm going to give you a supply to practice on.
So I just kind of take it when I know I'm going to be in a safe haven. 30 minutes after that, because I know after 30 minutes I start to feel it, and I'm like, okay, all right.
That's good. That means your metabolism's kind of up there. Well, you work out, so
that metabolism thing with me, it kicks in. I can't take Dayquil. NyQuil and stuff. I can't. I know when something's in my system.
Yeah.
My system lets me know.
Yeah.
But me on the edibles, I do a little edible. I like to do brownies. If anybody knows me, y'all know I like Oreos or chocolate chip cookies. So, you can't mess with the Oreos, but we can make our own chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah, get some good can of butter. I used to make some good can of butter too.
Man.
I made that, yeah. And you can make your own, edibles and stuff too, because you can just buy it in the raw, you know, and then you
do your thing with
cook it down.
Right. We're not gonna do the cooking show.
No, we're not doing that here.
But you can cook with it, and that's just wonderful. So we have Crystal has pretty much anything. If you guys are looking for something and you guys want to, maybe see what it's about, contact her. I mean, at the end of the show, she'll let you guys know about her information, so you can catch her. You can talk to her. If you just want to know information, you just want to find out more about it. We're gonna do that. We're gonna keep the show rolling a little bit, but we just wanted to just kind of broadcast and let you guys see what the table was all about, because I know you guys here watching, y'all like, man, okay. One other thing before I get into the next.
Didn't talk about
we didn't talk about this. So this is CBD Frosé. It's from Bloomers. So if you guys have been in Casks Flights, you probably know about our frosés. So recently, Bloomers is our frosé distributor, and that we get it through. We get it through R&DC, and Bloomers came out with a CBD frosé, and it has really taken off here. A lot of people really do enjoy it. They know about CBD. We let you know beforehand that it has CBD, so we're not just giving you stuff and you don't know what's in it. We want you to know exactly what's in it. But this is just a regular flavored CBD, so we can make, strawberry, raspberry limeades. We can make different types of flavors of frosé with this cannabis, with this CBD frosé. So you can get that here at Casks Flights.
You can just call it a can of cocktail.
You
totally can.
I can
do
that?
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
I just want to make sure my language is right.
It is. CBD is cannabis.
It's cannabis.
It is cannabis. Yes, sir. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I actually had one of those, by the way, or maybe two on gallery night, and I was impressed. I was like, this is good.
It does. It relaxes
raspberry
you.
flavor.
Oh, man.
It was really nice.
I haven't tried it as much. I tasted it just to just to know what it tastes like, but I haven't actually had a whole one where I can sit back and be like, okay, all right, I can see what's going on here.
Well, and then if you end up doing the pina colada flavor and you totally add one of these gummies to it, on a skewer, on a toothpick or something, and then they get the extra. We might have to talk about that.
We'll get into it.
Pair them up, it could be fun.
I got you. Well, look, we're going to keep it rolling. We just wanted to introduce, you guys know what these things are. This is wine, and that's little, aged bourbon whiskey, Long Branch, that we carry here as well. Just, part of the wine and wellness side. But let's talk about CBD versus THC. The long or the short. Just, we don't have to go into depth, but, your opinion on it and how CBD has kind of has CBD taken over, or has THC just kind of it's still up there? It's just, is it a preference, or what do you think?
I think the more people understand cannabis, the more they value them both.
Gotcha.
But in short, THC makes you high. It'll give you that euphoric feeling, head and body. And CBD does not. CBD, typically people will get a product like this from me sometimes, and they expect something a little bit more. They expect a little bit more euphoria, but they also notice that they're a lot less stressed and they don't have as much pain, and they're like, but it's doing something.
Yeah.
But I don't feel high or anything. And I'm like, exactly. You're not going to. But another really interesting fact about THC and CBD is if you do get too high from consuming THC, CBD will bring that down a little bit. So people that may get paranoid or they're too much anxiety, because it can trigger someone's anxiety if they're sensitive to it.
I got you.
You can take CBD, have that handy. If you are to, experiment with some other THC gummies, you have the CBD, it can bring you down from that. So
you can play them both. Like you could do, let's say I need to come down. Let me take a little CBD to come down.
Yeah, and I'm a medical marijuana patient myself in Florida, and I don't love to be high. I'm so busy that I can't be high, all the time. And I'm a mom, and I can't live my life like that. But there are, I might jump ahead here a little bit, but sometimes I don't mind the recreational standpoint as well.
I got you. No, that's good. That's good. So which one do you prefer? Is it a preference or
Depends on the day.
Depends on the day.
Yep, I can't. I would say that I can't really operate without CBD in my life.
Right.
It is a staple. It's a daily supplement that is just as important to me as water and spinach. You know, comparably, I think that it's just as important as vegetables. So I can't live without the CBD. So I need to have that for sure. But at this point in time, I've been on THC for 3 years as well, and it has just elevated my life so much. So I think that they're both together just a beautiful combination.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. So I heard you talk a little bit about, you know, Florida and the legislations and stuff like that they have out here now. In Florida, now we're not for recreational use of THC, you know, like some other states, you know, like California, Colorado, some of those other states. But where do you see, like, here in Florida, like, where do you see us going? Like, I know you've probably heard some things, or, you know, just, you know, your opinion on you know, whether they're going to legalize it totally like California or Colorado.
Sure, yeah. So I'm actually in the weeds a little bit with the legislative area too. I actually had traveled to Tallahassee last year to fight for, or against actually, to fight against the THC caps, because they wanted to cap the percentage for the medical program, which is absolutely absurd. So thankfully that it didn't happen. The bill didn't pass. It didn't go forward, and it died. So this year I'm back kind of in the weeds as well legislatively, and there's a lot of areas that we are focusing on. Recreational is one of them. However, the House is outnumbered. They are not for it. The House, we will probably not see recreational get passed in the state of Florida until 2024 at best, in my opinion. Of course, I could totally be wrong, and if I am, great. But I'm not seeing it I personally think that federal legalization may happen before Florida becomes legal. And people think, well, if it's federal, that means all the states will be legal too. No, that's not what it means.
That's not how the states work.
It's not how states work. So a lot is going to change in the next couple of years, and there's a lot that has been passed and coming out on the federal side. It's a lot of, lawmakers are pushing for it. It will enhance the economy. You know, it will be so much better when it comes to, you know, just suicide rates and mental health and overdoses. Opioid overdoses happen because people are on too many pills. They're too strung out.
They're doing all kinds of them.
Yeah. And, you know, it's something that I am very, very passionate about, because I've never been more clear-headed on cannabis, even the times that I have gotten high and used it on a recreational level, safely, of course, at home. And, you know, I don't recommend getting in a vehicle, you know, and being high just as much as you wouldn't recommend getting drunk and getting behind the wheel when you're having some wine or a cocktail. So, you know, it's helped me not even drink as much when I was drinking absurd amount of wine. And I love wine. I really love wine. But now I'm in control of the amount that I have. And I used to be so much more foggy on all those other synthetic prescription medications. So, I love them both, and it's hard to differentiate.
Don't do it. You just.
I'm such a lover. I love it all, all forms.
So it seems like, you know, you have gone through some transformation with the cannabis, and it's really kind of, you know, you've told us some things about legislation. You've told us about, you know, your life and how it's helped you a whole lot, and the transformation that people can go from. And you talked about a little bit about how opiates and how these other drugs are just tearing people apart, tearing families apart, and cannabis is really just helping them. I mean, you know, just doing cannabis right helps them so much. That's just, to me, it's kind of like a no-brainer when you sit here and talk to people about it. You know, I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us about it and stuff like that. I mean, it's almost like, and I know you have friends. You have friends that you have a whole crew. Isn't it a cannabis crew?
Yeah. We have a Mardi Gras cannabis crew.
Now, I know that you also do comedy for cannabis.
We have a fundraiser coming up in December.
Okay.
Cannabis and comedy open mic night. So if you have any jokes and you want to come tell them.
We were in here last night and some friends stopped me. He's like, "Oh, my son does comedy. Do y'all ever do comedy?" And I'm like, not so much in here, we haven't been, but I know somebody. I was like, I know somebody, and I forgot to get her name before she left. But, you know, it's just like that open mic That open mic, that's all they need. But so looking at cannabis and looking at THC, or just kind of living a healthy cannabis life, socially, how does it help? How do you see it helping people in a social standpoint? Like, you have different walks of life. Like, I'm a black guy, you're a white woman. You also have the LGBT. Don't let me mess this up. LGBTQ
and IA. I think there's more.
And right. So you have these different social groups, and before I have a guest on, I sometimes listen to podcasts and listen to different ones so I can kind of educate myself. And it was more on a LGBTQ podcast, and they were talking and how it really helped them socially.
Yeah.
It brought them together socially. Like, it brought them out. Like, as far as if you're kind of, how do you say, I don't want to offend nobody, in the closet about, you're not ready to come out.
Yeah.
And it really just kind of helped them come out. Help them
be
real
comfortable
with
with who you are too,
Exactly.
and help you not care as much about other people.
Exactly.
Because we all want to be loved, and we all want to be accepted, and that's a topic that, there's so many people that are so afraid to be accepted and to come out, and cannabis helps you maybe lower those anxieties. And
that's what it was about. That's what it was about, and that's why, it's kind of why I brought it up. It's because socially, a lot of people, they don't. They care about what people think. They have that low self-esteem. And in that podcast, they were just talking. It's like, it really just helped me. It helped me understand a lot more. It helped me socially just kind of engage, where I can engage with somebody that was feeling the same way that I was about it. And so I my hat goes off to people that have they make that transformation. They take whatever it is that they can take, whatever they have, and they make it work for them.
Yeah.
To where they not in a shell, because people are, I think naturally people are social human beings. They want that interaction.
Yeah.
They want to sit and they want to talk. They want to be about social engagement. They want to be maybe talk to friends about their life, their family, some of the things that they've gone through, so they can really they want to be helped. I mean, everybody cries out for something. So,
and that's why I was like, I feel like cannabis can really bring people together, because for the most part, people are starting to believe the same thing, and that's very hard in this world. And it's okay to believe in different things, of course,
right.
And be free thinking. But part of being free thinking is to understand too that not everything the government says is going to be the best thing, of course. And there's still so much government out there that says that cannabis is so bad. And I think with different social groups and social injustices, it's really beautiful that some of our crew members even came forward and said, I want to be able to donate to the Last Prisoner Project, which is helping minorities get out of prison because of marijuana related offenses.
Right.
When you got, people out there selling cannabis legally, it shouldn't be a factor for people that are, locked up and put away. And now when other drugs are, of course, in the mix of that, it's not as simple, it's not as, but at this point in time, from what I've understood in the last couple of years, everyone in the state of Florida since 2018 that has been booked for simple marijuana offenses have all been released, which is a beautiful thing.
That is really great.
And we're even fighting for employment protections as well for people in healthcare and in the education system to have a medical marijuana card. If you're allowed to in the state, how can you be, suppressed from working in an environment that's subject to drug testing? And we understand it's still a Scheduled I drug, but that's where federal legalization is really going to come into play by getting that off of the Schedule I substance list, and it's going to change things significantly. Now, I don't know if we're going to get to the point where the military and government service is going to be able to use it. Maybe in 5 or 6 years, but my husband will be already out at that point. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of areas within the social realms that truly just brings people feeling better and more just a normal human being, comfortable in their own skin.
No, and that's great. That's great. And you want to be normal, and you have people with I have kids. You have kids.
Just one.
And everybody that I know, most of the people that I know have kids. and you have kids when they have different personalities, they have different things going on with them. Have you seen any cannabis or just some things that may be helpful for the younger groups?
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not saying babies, but maybe some oils, some things like that maybe help them. I know a lot of kids, they have the ADHD and they have certain things going on.
This is actually one of my favorites for my daughter. She's hyperactive. So, again, I can't say it's going to cure, treat, or prevent anything.
Right.
But this beautiful watermelon mojito tincture here, it's got a little watermelon mint taste. And you see it's so pretty. I think it's just a beautiful little oil, just as if you were to cook with olive oil.
Right.
And it's so clear. And again, quality is very important when you're giving anything to your family.
Absolutely.
And we don't promote to children.
Right.
However, with, their parents using their best informed decision and doing their homework and being educated and having someone like me to help them through the process, it can help them significantly and maybe keep them off of some of those prescriptions that they don't have to be on their whole lives and in their childhood. And their brains are developing until they're 20 years old.
Exactly.
2021. So a lot of these products can help. And even, I will say it, and you don't have to, I will say it, that a oil like this, one drop, can help a teething baby.
Really?
And it's not going to harm them. Cannabis is so safe as long as you're using it properly.
Properly. Yeah, and that's where I wanted to go with that. I mean, because you got kids in school, they're acting out, they're doing a lot of things, and you don't want to get them hooked, but you want something natural, something that you can monitor.
And I will say this, even the teenagers that are going behind the bleachers or wherever they're going, they use it, they're getting it from not a great safe source probably, but even they don't even realize it, but they are using it medicinally. Yeah. They are using it to feel more included within their environment.
It's a social thing.
And I don't necessarily condone it at that age, but that's where it starts. And I think that at home it has to be education be provided.
We need to have a conversation about it. I mean, sit them down and talk to them about some things, show them some things, show them a pamphlet, or have you come in and talk to them about it. It's something that they're going to be subject to either by the TV, their friends, or somebody. You're going to get introduced to it.
That's right.
You may as well go ahead and get on the forefront
and
at least tell them about it. It's just like sex.
Get ahead of it. Get ahead of it.
We'll talk to them about it. That's good. That's great. Now, you did mention something about, you said gateway drug. And I was like, okay, do you really think, now, the way they have stuff, you don't think it's a gateway drug?
Absolutely not.
So of just
I think if you get mixed in with the wrong crowd and they're offering a bunch of weed and they're offering other stuff too, you could be influenced to partake in other things. Right. But I don't think that this is something that's going to necessarily make you want to do those other things unless you were influenced by an outside source. Nobody in the history of has ever died of cannabis alone. You can get really sick and feel nauseous for days. Right. But it's not something that has a fatality, rate against it. So when you mix in some of those other synthetics, that's when, dangerous stuff can happen.
Dangerous stuff happen. Yeah. No. So, and that's the way I was feeling about it too. I did drugs. I did cannabis. I've tried some stuff in my life. It's like you say, you got to be strong-willed. You got to know when to say no about things. You're gonna be in those circles. Yeah, so
there's gonna be some bad stuff out there.
Some bad stuff out there, So
but this plant is not one of them.
I love it.
It's just not.
I love it. Well, Crystal, I can't say enough about the education that you taught me some things.
Good. I'm glad. Absolutely. I'm glad. I could talk for days on this. So I know this went lengthy.
we gotta have you back. We definitely gonna have you back. But. Cool. We wanted everybody to hear your story, and we wanted you to talk about your brand Can of Living with Crystal, and how it's helped you and how it can help others. Go ahead and just tell them where they can find you.
Oh yeah.
Do a quick plug about you and what you can do to kind of
my elevator speech.
Things. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Can of Living with Crystal. I'm typically trying to move and shake around town. I love getting involved with my community and just being part of different philanthropic efforts too, of course. And I'm very heavily involved with advocacy work that I do with my crew, but also with women veterans and military spouses and mental health advocacy. Yeah. So I do love to just reach people who are in those realms, but I can be found on PensacolaCBD.com. So it's a super easy website to find. Super easy. PensacolaCBD.com. And you can see a little bit more about me, where I've come from, see some pictures and blogs, and of course, the ordering process. However, I would never want anybody to order blindly. I want to have those conversations with people. I want you to reach out to me and get into my Facebook or my Instagram or my TikTok. I'm almost at 10,000 followers on my TikTok, okay? I'm kind of becoming a big deal. I'm getting there, okay? Because once you hit 10K, then the next is 100K, and it's coming, okay? So you know me now. You remember when I was little.
I need to follow you.
But no, it's been years in the making, and 4 years of this journey, and I'm really starting to leverage, the marketing aspect of it, and I consider myself cannabis educator, influencer, entrepreneur, and advocate. So the best way to get a hold of me is Facebook or Instagram, and hit me up on the Messenger. My phone number is not that hard to find, but don't freaking robocall me, don't stalk me. I don't have cannabis to just freely offer. No. I don't have a weed farm at home. Right. But when it comes to these products, we will get you an order, and it's backed by a happiness guarantee. You either can exchange it if you don't like the taste of something, or get your money back. And I think that's really cool too. The dispensaries don't even offer that. So, when it comes to CBD, you don't have to have a medical card, and we ship to all 50 states too.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So I'm also on LinkedIn, and I even have another endeavor, which is kind of cool. I work in merchant services, so I provide business owners another safety net on saving some money with their credit card processing. So I'm starting to kind of rebrand or enter a house of brand of cannabis or credit cards called Crystal. So, I can help you chill out, and I can save your business money. So it's a whole array of things, but ultimately I just want people to live a better life. Mental health is such a tough thing to get through, and we don't talk about it enough until you have somebody that's really going through a tough time and they're not here anymore. And it's like, well, what happened? Where did it go wrong? And it's 22 a day for veterans. That number started to decrease ahead of the pandemic, and now that number is back to around 20 a day. And I think that the VA is pushing too many prescription cocktails and all that stuff. And, I'm going down a rabbit hole, but that's how you can reach me, and that's what I'm about. And I appreciate so much for having me here. I really had a great time, and I enjoy Casks Flights and all it has to offer, and I will always be bringing my girlfriends here.
Well, we do appreciate that. But Crystal, no, thank you. We really do. We thank you for the education. Thank you for coming on the show and talking to us about, canna living and stuff like that. And we really enjoyed it.
Oh, and our Crew to Cannabis is actually on Facebook and Instagram as well. So you just kind of got to search for Crew to Cannabis with a K.
There it is.
So it's KANNAIBS.
I like it. Well, you guys, I thank you guys for tuning in with us. Like I say, if you like some of the products or you want to find out more information, definitely give us. You can even get in contact with me. If you can't get in touch with her, or you want to go through me or whatever, you can call me. I'll get you in contact with Crystal, and she'll get you situated with whatever you like and talk to you about it. So thank you guys for tuning in tonight, and we'll see you next week.
See you later.